Karen Boen started her coaching journey later than most, but with the steadfast dedication and encouraging spirit, she's proven that time is only relative. Boen competed collegiately for Bridgewater State before starting a family and an initial career as a technician in the cardiology department at a Boston area hospital. With the encouragement and recommendation from her brother-in-law, Stonehill College baseball coach Pat Boen, Karen was hired in 1997 as the department's part-time head coach for women's cross country. The program was tagged to lose its varsity status the following year, but Bowen's drive convinced the then athletics director to change course. What followed was the building of a powerhouse program and a Hall of Fame-worthy resume. It didn't take long for Stonehill to establish itself as a perennial power in both the Northeast 10 Conference and the NCAA Division II's East Region. Stonehill got their first taste of success in 1999 when Bowen's women's cross-country squad turned a 7th-place conference showing the previous year to a runner-up finish the next. That same year, Boen was tapped to head all aspects of the Stonehill men's and women's track and field and cross-country programs. The next year, the Stonehill women won its first conference title in program history, opening the proverbial floodgates that would spur the next 2 decades of dominance. Ever since, Stonehill has won 38 conference titles under Bowen's watch, including 26 in cross-country. Most recently, in the fall of 2019, the women's cross-country squad won its 11th consecutive conference crown and its 12th East Region title to secure its 19th straight bid to the NCAA National Championships. Bowen's men's cross-country squad also made its 17th straight showing at the national meet this fall. Earlier this year, Boen announced that she would be stepping down as head coach of the Stonehill track and field programs, but she is still in command of the Skyhawks cross-country programs, and so the count of titles can still reach new heights. No matter where she has been in her career, Boen has proven that she always does it with heart. Please welcome Karen Boen, 2019 inductee into the USTFCCCA Coaches Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Coach Boen. Stage is yours.
Well. Good evening. I'd like to begin by congratulating the other award winners. I'm humbled to be sharing the stage with all of you. I studied exercise science as an undergrad at Bridgewater State College and cardiac rehabilitation in grad school, so to be here with Jack Daniels is pretty much an overwhelming, humbling experience. I would also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for honoring me and the program at Stonehill College. When I first got word of this, I truly didn't know how to react. I never would have thought a small Division II program outside of Boston would get such recognition. I had a hard time digesting everything when the announcement came out and it was first released. I couldn't figure out why I got selected when so many of you are equally, if not more, entitled. I began intercepting texts and emails, and if I were being honest, I really felt like an imposter. I was a bit stressed, and when I'm stressed, I did what I always do. I went to TJ Maxx. Over the next several days, I came to a place of acceptance. I'm proud of our program, of the accomplishments that my athletes have made. We have never won a national championship, but our teams are always fighting to be represented at one. We're like that mosquito that buzzes in your ear at night. You can't swat it, but you hope that it makes a difference and goes away. Our teams are known for their hard work, strong academics, and for how they represent themselves on and off our campus. It's because of them, truly, that I am on this stage. I have never had the privilege of running on a high school cross-country or track and field team. I grew up in the projects in South Boston in the early 70s where girls' sports really weren't that celebrated. What I did have was a strong Irish single mother whose mission it was to keep her kids out of the projects in the hot summer days. She signed us up for any free program that was available. For my brothers, it was the Boys Club overnight camp. And for me, it was a camp for low-income kids that was federally funded and was basically the best thing that ever happened to me. They would pick up kids from all over the city, every neighborhood, every walk of life, every color. and they would descend us on Boston University, where coaches and athletes that were participating in collegiate athletics would mentor us and just basically introduce us to a variety of different sports. They had tennis, they had soccer, they had swimming, and of course my favorite was track and field. One of the things that I think was, at the time, my life's accomplishment, at age 13, I won Outstanding Female Camper at the camp. You would have thought I died and went to heaven. I didn't pay much attention, but it certainly made its mark on me and gave me the confidence that I didn't have as a 10-year-old girl. Unfortunately, sports would end when the summer ended. It was a tumultuous time in Boston, especially my senior year in high school. Desegregation of the schools was implemented and the neighborhoods were all in chaos. Many of my summer friends from all over the city had to make decisions to walk into a very violent school situation or drop out of school. Luckily for me, that single Irish Catholic mother that I was talking about was going to have no part of this. She enrolled me in October of my senior year in a suburban school outside of Boston. Unbeknownst to me, it was my father's address, and to this day I don't really know if he knew I was at this school. But his sister certainly did, and she's here representing us tonight. I might as well have been on another planet, in the suburbs, but I did graduate, unlike so many others. That summer, the camp folks were very concerned about my inability to navigate the college enrollment process and convinced me that I could do this. In July, a local politician took the time to drive me to Bridgewater State College to speak to the admissions department on my behalf. I sat outside until he came out and he said, "They're going to take you. Don't screw this up." That was my college advice. On the way home, we stopped, we bought a newspaper, and I rented a room in a woman's house because it was already July, and I started my college career. I think my sophomore year at college, I was running across the campus, and my anatomy coach pulled up, and he asked me if I had run track, and embarrassed, I said no, and he said, "Well, you should." So I did. I reported to practice the next day. The next year, a new coach started. His name was John Laverty. He now coaches high school, and in my opinion, is a rock star. He took me under his wing, he taught me to be a team player, and I was hooked. I am the ultimate walk-on. You know those kids who just show up, you have no idea who they are, they seem like they might be okay, so you decide to keep them around. Their resume may not be impressive, but they work hard, and the next thing you know, they're contributing. They never won a championship for you, but they work hard, they keep their noses clean, and they do their best to be a contributor. I never tried out for a team, and I've never really been interviewed for a college position to coach. I was happily working in cardiology in 1997, and when my husband was talking to his brother that night on the phone, and I heard him saying, "Sure, she'll do it. Yeah, she'd love to do it." When I asked what he was talking about, he said, "Well, Stonehill let their track and field coach go. They're going to turn it into a club. They need someone to finish out the year, so I told them you'd do it." And that's how it all started. They basically needed a warm body, and that's who I was. I met who at the time was the athletic director, Paula Sullivan, a Division II powerhouse basketball coach in her own right, who didn't sugarcoat the situation. Things were pretty dire, and although she wasn't opposed to having the program, in her words, "I don't want to offer a sport where I'm not confident in recommending it to other people." Paula and I have ended up good friends. Unfortunately, she got stranded in a snowstorm in Boston. She's not here tonight. One of the best coaching mentors that a young, inexperienced female coach could ever wish for. The rest is history. One year led to another. 23 years later, here I am. And those who know me know that I've never, ever, ever been impressed with someone's starting point. What impresses me most is where they finish up. In closing, I want to say thank you for all the people who crossed my path and made a difference in my life. I have always had a great compass, but you always took the time to keep me focused and gave me the confidence and opportunities that I wouldn't have had without you. Stonehill College, They have been supportive, understanding, and a community that I'm lucky to be a part of. I am fortunate to have a president who travels to many of our championships and who has attended as many events as any president that I can imagine. So many of our administrators are here tonight in full force, despite the others who got stranded in Boston. I want to thank my AD, Dean O'Keefe, in our athletic department. Not everyone understands our sport and all the idiosyncrasies that come along with it. They listened, they helped the program grow. My teams have always felt they were important and an integral part of the campus in our athletic department. To all the assistant coaches who have passed through our program, at one time none of you was paid, and others we paid you with meals. You have all left your marks over the years, and I'm so delighted to have two of the best with me now, Mike Delgado and Dan Schwartz. To other coaches, I've learned from so many of you. I watched you, I called you, I copied your workouts, I listened to you at meetings. I think of Russ Jewett and Kim Deist, who served with me when I was brave enough to be the NCAA track and field committee early in my career. I was a rookie, and they taught me so much that I didn't know when I first joined. I want to thank George Williams, who probably doesn't even know he did this for me. He took me out to dinner in North Carolina and introduced me to some of the legends in track and field when I was so green behind the ears. Coaches from my conference, coaches from the PSAC and other conferences, who despite the fact that we are true competitors, became resources and persons to laugh with during these endless 9-hour track meets. To my friends and my family, I'm so fortunate to have you. My dear friend Judy, who's been following me around for 35 years. To my 3 daughters, Courtney, Molly, and Colleen, I have said so many times how grateful I am that you've been willing to share me with hundreds and hundreds of other kids. You did so without complaint. You understood my efforts to maintain balance in our lives. 2019 for our family has probably been the most challenging year of our lives. If any coach in this room wants a testimony to true strength and toughness, my 3 daughters are at that table, and I challenge you to introduce yourself to them. To my husband, Carl, the love of my life for 40 years. After 34 years of being the Director of Education for the Department of Corrections in Massachusetts, he supported me and without complaint decided to join the staff for the last 7 years. You've never complained that I was gone on weekends, and basically you are a role model to all of us, and I'm so appreciative. So on behalf of all the walk-ons and all the people who have mentored them and gave them a start, please know that you're noticed and you are responsible for any success that I could have had. Thank you.
Right over here for a picture.
Oh.